Hello guys, and welcome to a brand new camera comparison between the Samsung Galaxy S22 against the S21 and the S20. Right now we are shooting at 4K at 30 frames per second. Tell me in the comment section below which one do you think has a better audio and which one has better stabilization. Starting with some samples from their main cameras, but first let me address that every image in daylight is taken in auto mode, since most of the people take pictures like this. After taking a lot of samples, here's what I found out. In daylight all of them are really good in most of the cases. The S22 seems to have the most accurate image, while the S21 is slightly brighter. All of them are very sharp with vibrant colors and excellent dynamic range. The 2-year-old S20 in some cases does overexpose images a little bit, but this is nothing to be worried about. In some situations, however, I saw that only the S22 was able to preserve accurate the colors of the scene. The S21 and the S20 are here almost identical, because they have the same sensor. Overall, when it comes to the main cameras in daylight, I saw some improvements with the S22, even though both the S21 and the S20 can really keep up in most of the cases. When it comes to their ultrawide cameras, the S22 and the S21 are very similar in terms of colors, while the older S20 is starting to fall behind. In this scenario, for example, the S20 has worse colors compared to its successors. This wasn't always the case, however, since sometimes the S21 is closer in results with the S20. Here, for example, I prefer the colors of the older phones compared to the newer S22. The S22, however, shines in this case, and while the S21 is really good too, the S20 is nowhere near compared to them. Here is another example where you can see clearly the difference between the phones, with the S21 being the brightest, the S22 coming close second, and the S20 being the darkest one. The S22 seems to be consistent in almost every picture, while the S21 in some cases is doing a comparable job too. In some other cases, however, it couldn't match its successor. The S20, however, is starting to show its age, and even though it is doing fine by itself, it can't compete with the newer phones. When it comes to their telephoto cameras, the S22 has a 3x optical zoom, while the others have a 3x hybrid zoom, and honestly it is noticeable. The S22 is sharper and has better colors, while the others are good too, but not as great as the S22. Sometimes, however, the S21 was able to take pictures with more pleasing colors compared to the S22, even though the latter still remains sharper. The S20 in this case is closer to the S22, just slightly darker. In this next case, for example, the S22 and the S21 are both doing a good job, with the latter being slightly brighter and the former being sharper. The S20, on the other hand, just like with the other cameras, it isn't as consistent. When it comes to their front cameras, the S22 hands down takes better pictures. In this case, for example, it is doing a much better job in terms of sharpness and colors. Surprisingly, the S20 is also better than the S21, which has a lot of sun reflections. In this other case, as you can see, all of them produce different results, with the S22 still being the best. The S21 is also sharp just like the S22, but the color rendition leans more to the green, which I don't like. The S20 on the other hand is not as sharp, and here it is my least favorite one. It is also worth noticing that none of them are showing my skin color right, but the S22 is doing a better job here because it has the more realistic image of all three. When shooting videos at 4K, all of them have amazing stabilization and good dynamic range. This is an area where I thought the difference would be bigger, but this just shows that even the older S20 is doing fine. When it comes to their ultra-wide cameras, the S22 and the S20 have more muted colors, while the S21 is a little bit more vibrant, but honestly speaking they are all doing great. With their telephoto cameras, it is noticeable that the S22 and the S21 are better in terms of stabilization, while the S20 is struggling a lot. Moving to low light, and from now on every picture is taken with night mode enabled. With their front-facing cameras, I saw that the S22 is constantly sharp, and while in some cases the S20 is sharper, there were some other cases when they switched places with the S21, with the latter being sharper just like here. The S22 has a nice balance between brightness and sharpness, while the S21 sometimes it becomes too bright, it makes the picture almost unusable. The S20 is somewhere in between the others. With their main cameras in low light, the S22 is doing a perfect job here, while the S21 is also good but not great. The S20 on the other hand is terrible, since it completely crushed the light. This wasn't always the case, since sometimes it managed to take a comparable picture with its successors. The S22 seems to be sharper compared to the others, even though the lights here aren't as accurate as its predecessors. In low light, just like in daylight, the main camera on all phones is great, and they all take amazing pictures in most of the times. The older S20 struggles sometimes, but nothing to be worried. Even with their ultra-wide cameras, they are mostly similar, with the S22 having a slightly better picture here. Sometimes, however, just like in daylight, the S20 falls behind, while the S22 and the S21 did a much better job on handling the original colors of the scene. Overall, in low light, the S22 is the best, with the S21 being slightly behind and the S20 coming last. Even though the ultra-wide camera of the S22 is very good, it can't keep up with its main camera. The same case is with the others too. With their telephoto cameras, I think there is no competition at all, since the S22 is a lot better compared to the S21 and the S20. The telephoto camera of the S22 gets activated every time, even when the lighting conditions are harsh, while the others zoom in with their main cameras. It is especially noticeable in this case, because as you can see, only the S22 is sharp, while its predecessors are blurry. I am happy they finally added an optical zoom camera instead of the hybrid zoom ones found on the S21 and the S20. So guys, what do you think? Let me know in the comment section below which one did you prefer. If you are still undecided, here are some more samples so you can judge for yourself without me interfering. If you did enjoy this video, then a thumbs up would be appreciated. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.